Hey, Mark Hunter here, and I'm the author of the book High Profit Prospecting. And I got with me Mike Weinberg, who was generous enough to write the introduction. Mike, hey, welcome. And let's talk a little bit about the book High Profit Prospecting. And hey, you know what? At the end, I'm going to make sure that we do a little shout out for New Sales Simplified and your other book. In fact, you notice how that cover doesn't even sit flat? Because that's how much I've used it. So anyway, but we'll talk this book first.
Well, I would like that. I think that book may be the most important book being released in 2016. So let's go there.
Where do you want to go? Why should people buy the book? I mean, you wrote the introduction, so in order to read the introduction, you had to go through the whole thing.
I did, and I love the opportunity to write the introduction because it's different than a forward. In a forward, you're talking thematically about what's in the book. In the introduction, I take the responsibility that we're gonna kind of foreshadow what's coming. And share the outline. And Mark, the thing that I like most, it's probably hard to say what I like most. I liked it all, is that you covered the whole thing. It was comprehensive. If you read this book, you would significantly increase your effectiveness at creating your own leads and filling up your funnel full of sales opportunity. I like to call it scratching business out of the dirt. If your company's not producing enough leads for you through their marketing engine, if inbound's not working, if referral selling isn't getting it done, if the whole social, selling deal is not having customers raise their hand, you've shown people in a very methodical way, from the beginning of how to get your mind right about prospecting to the techniques and the words that you need to use to be much more effective, using all the various tools available, from the phone to email, to social networking, to even text messaging, to the whole deal. How do you tie that all together? And then you did some stuff at the end of the book where I call it after the meaty midsection, where you really took it up a notch. And you did everything from talking about how to get yourself into higher level people's offices. We all talk about selling to the C-suite. So much so it's almost cliched, but you actually showed people from the times of day that make the most sense to some of the verbiage that resonates better with higher level people. So I guess if you summarized all those thoughts, what I liked about it was that it was comprehensive. And of course I loved that you took some good shots, boom, 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 really early on at the jokers in our industry that are telling people prospecting is dead, it doesn't work anymore. That's silly. We all know it works, and we know that top producers are fanatical prospectors and they do it all the time. And I think that's why your book is going to be so successful, because people need the help. I think if I could sum it up in a sentence, Mark, it's that salespeople are short on developing new business. They are not bringing in business at the desired rate, and pipelines are weak. And you can attribute almost all of that to a lack of prospecting, whether they don't believe it works, or they don't know how to do it, or they don't want to do it. And your book addresses all of those things.
Okay, let's answer a question real quick. Does prospecting belong in the marketing camp or the sales camp?
Yeah, I think it belongs everywhere, but I think mostly in the sales camp. I would like marketing to help us create leads. I would love it if and in big companies and small, a lot of times we see marketing is very ineffective at A, creating leads, at B, even equipping sellers with a provocative, compelling, client issue focused story. So often what marketing gives us is so product or solution focused versus client issue focused. And I think that's part of the way in your book, where you're painting the picture of what your messaging could be like in such a way that you're not only helping bring down the defense shield of the prospect who you're interrupting with your outbound attempt to get in touch with them, but I love the way that you're talking about framing outcomes and value so that you're able to protect the profit as you sell. In other words, Mark, your approach I think is different than in what are in a lot of books, in that you're starting with the end in mind. And I think what I'm most appreciative of is it's not just that you're showing people how and when to prospect, but you're giving them a methodology that raises the bar, and it gets them viewed more as a consultant and an expert in their prospect's mind. And that's one of the battles I'm facing with a lot of my clients, where constantly I see sellers getting diminished and relegated to vendor status and getting commoditized. And yeah, the system works to commoditize us, but there's a lot of things that salespeople do that diminish how a prospect or a customer sees them. And what you did so beautifully was elevate the art of prospecting. So it's not just going to get them in, but it's going to get them in at a higher level and viewed differently. So we're having a different kind of business conversation. And frankly, that's what everybody really wants. We don't want to be seen as this low-level vendor. We want to be the value creator. And I think that's where there's some beauty in what you wrote.
Wow, you must be in sales. I ask you one question, you go on for 5 minutes, but that's cool. Hey, you know what I'm pleased with, because I never asked you what your opinion was on who owns marketing or sales, and I'm glad you said it was sales, because that's what I have a firm belief in. Marketing can contribute to the development of prospecting, but when it comes to prospecting, sales has to own the process. So, but hey, for those of you we are talking about high profit prospecting. It's a book I had the privilege to write. Mike Weinberg, great guy, who wrote New Sales Simplified. And yeah, let's make this a twofer. Let's make this a threefer, because you've got another book out there too, dealing with sales management. But this book, and look at that cover. Look at that cover. That's how much I've been reading. I've read that book over the 4 years that it's been out, and it's still doing incredibly well. So Mike, I want to thank you for being willing to write the introduction of my book. Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh, what a pleasure, Mark.
And it's fun dancing with you, because you and I, we have similar opinions, yet I know we do have some disagreements, because on some other sessions, we've gone toe to toe on a few things different.
We've been known. We've both been called angry at one point or another, haven't we?
Yes.
Yeah, I just want to thank you. First of all, I mean, I appreciate the nice words. And here's the truth, Mark. Your book is the most needed book in sales right now. And that's why in the fall of 2016, things are going to turn around. I cannot wait to put that book in every salesperson I know in their hands. And I can't wait to see as it rolls out in the reviews, because the world needs this message, and you did a great job crafting it. So wishing you the best with that.
And your two books, New Sales Simplified and Sales Management Simplified. Pick them up. Hey, Mike, thanks so much for being on this. And let's go out and sell some books. Great selling.
You too.